We live in a world where we have thousands of friends, followers, and connections all at our fingertips. We have never been more wired in. But here's the big question. Does all of this digital connection actually make us feel, well, connected? Today, we're diving into this huge modern paradox, why we can be so constantly on and yet feel more and more isolated. So, what is really going on behind our screens? Let's get into it. I bet this feels familiar. You've spent an hour, maybe more, just scrolling on your phone. You've seen what hundreds of people are up to, you've dropped some likes, a few comments, maybe shared a thing or two, and yet, the moment you put the phone down, there's this weird hollow feeling, right? You're surrounded by all this digital noise, but you feel completely and totally alone.
Well, there's actually a name for this. It's called zombie scrolling. And it's that trance-like state where your thumb is just moving on autopilot, but your brain is kind of checked out. You're physically there in the room, but mentally, you're a million miles away. You become what they call an absent presence, and you're missing everything that's happening in the real world right in front of you. And this quote from Dr. Don Grant just nails it. It really illustrates the cost of that zombie state. He talks about missing these organic bids for connection. And think about what that means. It's the small talk with the person making your coffee, a shared laugh with a stranger on the bus, a real deep conversation with your partner. These are the little building blocks of genuine connection, and they're totally invisible to us when we're in that scrolling trance.
So, what is actually going on in our brains when we're doing this? Because it's a lot more than just wasted time. The very act of scrolling is, well, it's actively reshaping how we see ourselves and the world around us. Dr. Grant also came up with this phrase, compare and despair, and it is perfect. It just so perfectly captures the psychological trap of social media. I mean, platforms like Instagram are basically just highlight reels, right? We're scrolling through this endless stream of perfect vacations, perfect bodies, perfect families, perfect lives. And even when we logically know it's all curated and not the full picture, our brain can't help itself. It compares. And that leads directly to feelings of envy and, feeling like we just don't measure up. But here's where it gets really interesting and complicated. Our relationship with scrolling isn't just a simple negative thing. In fact, some fascinating research has uncovered a paradox, especially with an app like TikTok, that explains why we keep going back for more, even when we know it might not be good for us. Okay, so first, let's look at the despair part of this. A study out of Dartmouth found a really clear link between chronic heavy TikTok use and anxiety. Look at this. More than half of the young adults they studied reported mild, moderate, or even severe anxiety symptoms. And the pattern was clear. The more time they spent on the app, the higher their physiological stress. And now, here is the absolute core of the paradox. That same study measured something called heart rate variability, or HRV, which is a key indicator of stress in our bodies. In the short term, like while someone is actually scrolling, their HRV goes up, which actually indicates a state of relaxation. It feels good. It's a quick, easy hit of relief. But, and this is the crucial part, over time, chronic use leads to a lower baseline HRV. That means your body ends up in a constant, low-grade state of stress. So the very thing we're doing to relax in the moment is what's contributing to our chronic stress in the long run. It's a trap. Now, it's so easy to look at all this and frame it as a personal problem, a lack of willpower. Just put the phone down, people say. But that totally ignores the massive systems at play here, both at work and in the technology itself, that are literally built to keep us glued to our screens. Okay, just let this number sink in for a second. 72 hours. A study from the Center for Creative Leadership found that professionals who use smartphones for work are connected for about 72 hours a week. That breaks down to about 13.5-hour workdays, plus another 5 hours checking emails on the weekend. The whole idea of a 40-hour work week? It's just a distant memory for so many of us. And this isn't just a feeling people have. It's an explicit, written-down expectation. This quote is from a real memo sent out at a law firm. The message could not be clearer. Your time is not your own. You are expected to be available, always. This kind of thing creates what some sociologists call a culture of time macho. It's like a relentless competition to prove who's the most connected, the most available, the most dedicated. And all of this leads to what we call hyperconnectivity. It's not just about the technology, it's a social norm. Responding to an email at 10 p.m. isn't just something you do once in a while. It becomes the standard. It gets reinforced by everyone around you. And eventually, the lines between your work life and your personal life just blur.
until there are no lines left at all.
And on top of that work culture, the technology itself is designed to be inescapable. I mean, think about it. Algorithms often push their homepage suggestions way more than the channels you actually chose to subscribe to. They make it incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible, to permanently block topics or channels you don't want to see. As one user pointed out, even if you filter a specific hashtag, related stuff still gets through because the system connects things behind the scenes. It's all engineered to provoke a reaction from you. Any reaction, good or bad, just to keep you scrolling, to keep you engaged whether you want to be or not. So, if our own willpower is up against these powerful corporate cultures and these incredibly addictive algorithms, what can we actually do? Well, there's a really powerful systemic solution that's starting to emerge, and it's all about giving power back to the individual. It's called the right to disconnect. So, what is it? It's a legal concept, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. It formally protects an employee's time. It establishes that you have the right, a legal right, to not engage with work calls, emails, or messages outside of your official work hours. It's a direct, systemic answer to the problem of hyperconnectivity. And if you're wondering why a law like this is even necessary, well, this survey from Eurofound shows you exactly why. Just look at the pressures people are under. A huge majority, 82%, say they respond because they feel responsible. 75% say it's just expected of them. Many are afraid of a negative impact on their career if they don't, while half of them are doing it because they're hoping to get ahead. This isn't just one or two people, it's a massive, widespread culture of pressure that makes disconnecting feel almost impossible. And listen, this isn't just some abstract theory or a lofty idea. It's real and it's happening right now. France really pioneered this legislation, and now countries like Spain, Belgium, and Italy have followed suit. They're actually putting legal frameworks in place to fight burnout and give employees their personal time back. It's proof that we can actually design a healthier way to work. Now, while these big systemic changes are absolutely crucial, there are also some really powerful strategies we can use in our own lives to shift from being passive consumers of technology to being active participants in our own well-being. The end goal here is to achieve what researchers call digital well-being. And notice, it's not about rejecting technology or going to live in a cabin in the woods. It's about mastering it. It's about reaching a state where you control your digital tools, not the other way around, where you use them to find satisfaction and fulfillment instead of stress and anxiety. Here's one incredibly simple but super effective strategy. Create a tech-free zone in your home. It all starts with one simple question you ask your family or roommates. Where is the one place we want to be fully present with each other? For a lot of people, that's the dinner table or the kitchen island. Then, you make it a hard and fast rule, no phones. By making it consistent, you get rid of the constant arguments over devices at the table. You literally create a protected space for real conversation. And beyond physical zones, we can build digital boundaries too. These are small skills, but trust me, they have a huge impact. It can be as simple as turning off the sound alerts for those group chats that are buzzing constantly. Or, having the courage to just leave a group chat that's no longer relevant or is just stressing you out. Using smart filters for your notifications so only the really important stuff gets through. These are like little micro habits that help you take back your focus from that constant stream of digital interruptions. So ultimately, I think it all comes down to this one question. When you pick up your phone, what are you really doing? Are you trying to have a genuine conversation, a real two-way exchange that builds a bond? Or are you just passively consuming content? I think being honest about the difference between the two might just be the most important first step to breaking that illusion of connection and finding what's actually real.